Picture this: New York, the 1930s. The streets are soaked in shadow, the rain never lets up, and there's danger waiting around every corner. This city has one hero, but he's not the Spider-Man you grew up with. No wisecracks, no bright red suit. They call him the Spider. He's old, he's worn down, dragging the weight of his whole past behind him. But honestly, the real stars here are the villains he's going up against. Because here's the thing nobody tells you: every single bad guy in Spider-Noir is secretly a classic Spider-Man enemy you've known for years. You just never recognize them. That mob hitman in the shadows, he's Sandman. That terrifying giant who shrugs off bullets, that's Tombstone. They slipped these characters into this dark 1930s world so cleverly that most people watched the whole thing without ever clocking who they really were. So today, we're pulling back the curtain on all of them, the show version, and who they truly are in the comics. And believe me, some of these backstories are even wilder than what we got on screen. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor and hit subscribe. It genuinely helps us out. And if you can, share this with a friend who loves Spider-Man, because each of these videos takes us at least 3 days to make, and there's a team of 4 people behind the scenes pouring their hearts into it. Alright, let's get into it. Let's kick things off at the top, with the man pulling every string, Silvermane. In the show, Brendan Gleeson plays him, and they did something fascinating here. They stripped away his classic Italian mob roots and reinvented him as Finbar Byrne, an Irish crime boss with all of 1930s New York in his pocket. This man owns the cops, the mayor, basically everyone. He runs a nightclub called the Alcove, and he's got a private army of superpowered soldiers who came home from the First World War broken, in body and mind. He's paranoid, he's vicious, but weirdly, he's also kind of philosophical. And that arrogance, yeah, that's exactly what ends up burying him. But here's where it gets fun. The comic version of Silvermane is a completely different beast. His real name is Silvio Manfredi, an old-school Italian mob boss with one obsession: living forever. He gets so desperate to claw back his youth that, over the years, he literally turns himself into a cyborg. Yeah, a robot mobster. And the show just chucked that whole sci-fi angle out the window and made him a pure, grounded gangster instead. Honestly, I think that was the right move. A cyborg robot would have felt completely ridiculous in this rainy 1930s world. And the way he goes out is kind of poetic, all that paranoia and ego, and in the end he gets taken down by the singer in his own club. We'll get to her, just hang tight. Next up, Sandman, Flint Marko, played by Jack Houston. And man, this version is dark. He's a World War I veteran hauling around some heavy trauma, working as one of Silvermane's hired guns. He's also the bodyguard for the nightclub singer Cat Hardy, and the two of them have this messy, tangled up romance going on. The show paints him as this tortured, broken soul, and the wild part is, you actually end up feeling for the guy. In the comics, his powers are pretty much identical. He can turn his whole body into sand and reshape himself however he wants. But in the noir comic universe, he leans more into being a straight-up mob executioner, this unstoppable wall of sand and stone. Quick question for you guys: are you actually feeling sorry for these villains so far? Because, not gonna lie, I kind of am. Drop a comment, let me know. Now here's a guy who's tied directly to Sandman, Tombstone, Lonnie Lincoln, played by Abraham Papula. In the show, he and Flint fought shoulder to shoulder in the First World War, they're brothers in arms. After the war, he comes back with these mutated abilities and gets dragged into Silvermane's world as yet another one of his ruthless enforcers. And here's a detail I love: his story actually wraps up on a surprisingly hopeful note, which you almost never get with a character like this. In the comics, Tombstone is one of the most terrifying figures in New York's underworld. He's an albino, he files his teeth into points, and experiments left his skin nearly bulletproof. The show grounds all of that by tying his powers to the war, which, if you ask me, makes way more sense than the comic origin ever did. Okay, real quick, if you're enjoying this so far, smash that like button. It really does help the channel grow. Now back to it, because this next one is my favorite: Megawatt. So when the trailers first dropped, everybody, me included, was dead sure this was Electro. Nope, turns out it's Megawatt, played by Andrew Lewis Caldwell, and this guy is an absolute riot. He dreams of making it big as a Broadway star, so whenever he fires up his electric powers, he's constantly quoting famous plays, launching into dramatic monologues mid-fight. He's theatrical, he's completely unhinged, and you never know what he's going to do next. And here's the deep-cut detail that blew my mind. Megawatt isn't some made-up character. He really did show up in the Marvel comics, but get this, exactly once, in a single 1993 issue. He was basically a forgotten, watered-down knockoff of Electro with an obsession for the movies. So instead of reaching for the famous Electro, the show creators went digging and pulled this completely buried character out of obscurity and rebuilt him from scratch. That Right there is the kind of love for the source material I live for. Alright, we're past the halfway point now, and this is where it gets really interesting, because these next two characters are exactly where the show stops copying the comics and starts genuinely surprising you. So stick with me. Let's talk about the Fire Guy. Everybody just assumed this was Molten Man, right? Wrong again. This character, played by Jack Mikesell, is actually James Jimmy Addison, somebody the show invented specifically for this universe. Just like Sandman and Tombstone, Jimmy's an old war veteran, and his deal is controlling fire. And here's the twist. He's secretly hired by Cat Hardy to torch Silvermane's mansion. In the comics, the original Molten Man got his powers from liquid metal spilling on his body. But Jimmy Addison? No direct comic counterpart whatsoever. He's a brand new threat, written from scratch just for this noir world. And honestly, I love that they had the guts to create someone totally original instead of slapping an old name on him. And now, the one who ties this entire thing together. Cat Hardy, played by Lee Jun Lee, she's the singer at Silvermane's Club, the absolute picture of a 1930s femme fatale. She's got that dangerous romance with Sandman, and on the surface, she looks like an innocent victim caught up in all this. But here's the truth, and this is the big one. She's the real mastermind. She's the one who quietly hired Jimmy to burn the place down. And in the end, she's the one who takes out Silvermane himself. This whole time, she was playing every single one of them. Now picture being one of these guys, fully convinced you're in control, only to realize the quiet singer in the corner was running the whole game from the start. That's ice cold. In the comics, Cat Hardy is obviously a nod to Felicia Hardy, the legendary Black Cat, Spider-Man's complicated love interest with luck manipulation powers. But in the noir comics specifically, she's got no powers at all. She's just a club owner, a master manipulator with serious weight in the underworld, and that's exactly the version the show ran with. No costume, no powers, just pure, sharpened cunning. And honestly, I think it works way better this way. So let me be real with you for a second. After everything Sony's been putting out lately, the rough stuff like Morbius, Madam Web, Craven, this show honestly felt like medicine, man. Like a breath of fresh air. I really do think Spider-Noir is the best thing Sony has done with this character in years. The folks who made the Spider-Verse movies, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, are the ones behind this, and you can feel that level of care in every single frame. And one more thing, a little personal note here. I watched the entire thing in black and white because the show actually gives you that option, and it was unreal. The shadows, the mood, the whole atmosphere of it. How did you watch it? Color, or black and white? I genuinely want to know, so drop it in the comments. So there you have it, every villain in Spider-Noir, and who they really are underneath. And maybe that's the real magic of this show. It took characters we thought we knew inside and out, stripped away the bright colors and the flashy superpowers, and reminded us that the best villains aren't the ones with the wildest abilities. They're the broken, desperate, human ones hiding in the shadows of a rain-soaked city. And if you ask me, that's exactly what makes this version stick with you. So tell me down below, which villain was your favorite, and which classic Spider-Man character do you want to see get the noir treatment next? Drop a like, subscribe so we can keep this Spider family growing, share it with a friend, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay out of the shadows.